listening to Keith Sports News. Hey guys, welcome to KSN episode 41. That's right, you hear this music again? Yep. Big thing this weekend to me is the Preakness Stakes horse racing. The 150th Preakness Stakes. Yeah, it really is. It's crazy. It's just as old as the Kentucky Derby by 1 year. Yeah, crazy. So, I am looking forward to this. I usually watch this every year, and it's always around my birthday. It's like my tradition. It's always around my birthday. I think Mike Tirico's going to be there, so hopefully he'll sound better. Although I did hear him on one of my favorite podcasts, talk shows, the Dan Patrick Show. Okay, it was Dan Patrick's birthday the other day, so he had Mike Tirico on, and he sounded great. So we'll see how the Preakness goes. Let's see what the weather is like, because for those of you that saw the Kentucky Derby, it was raining a lot. The track was sloppy. So Preakness is in Baltimore, Maryland, I believe. And the weather is going to be partly cloudy, mostly sunny. Yeah, looks like it's going to be a fast track. And we got some horses that ran in the Kentucky Derby. Sandman and the Kentucky Derby runner-up, Journalism. So I hope one of those two horses win, because that would be great. Like, oh wow, they ran in both the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, and that'd be great if one of those two horses will win the Preakness. I'm looking at the entries. There's going to be 9 horses. Okay, so who is the favorite? The favorite to win is Sandman, 4-1. The odds are 4-1 for Sandman, with a familiar jockey, John Velasquez. So, yeah. Sandman, he ran in the Arkansas Derby, and Journalism ran in the Santa Anita Derby. So, yeah, we got two great race horses, and I'm looking forward to this. I think this time I can watch it live. The Kentucky Derby, I didn't watch it live. I watched it the day after. I think for the Preakness, I think I can watch it live. All right. It's not as long of a coverage this time, unlike the Kentucky Derby. So, yeah. All right. But, however, I think a lot of people are not going to watch the Preakness, which is a shame. And I understand why. Because, they wanted to see the Kentucky Derby winner, which he will not be running. Sometimes it's like that. But people are saying lately that I think it might be time for a change in the Triple Crown schedule by pushing back both the Preakness and Belmont Stakes. Kentucky Derby should always be on the first Saturday of May. People are saying Preakness should be pushed back to the last Saturday of May, or the Saturday before Memorial Day, and then have the Belmont Stakes the first Saturday of July. Who knows? That could happen next year. Do I want that to happen? I've been thinking about that all week, and I kind of do actually. I would like that to happen, and let's just see what happens. You know, in 2020, they kind of did something like that only because it was COVID, no fans. Each racetrack has their own policy. So hopefully, maybe next year, we'll see. But if they do that, that means part of my birthday tradition is no more because the Preakness is always around my birthday. So I don't see why they would have a problem pushing those races back if they're gonna do that next year. So we'll see. But anyways, so yeah, that's the big thing. If you are a horse racing fan like me, I'm not a huge horse racing fan, but I would always watch the Triple Crown races. All right. And when I was younger, I mentioned this before, I used to go to a horse racing track in the summer. It's called Evangeline Downs in Opelousas, Louisiana. Uh, the last time I the last time I went there was in 2019. I could go back. Maybe I'll finally go back there this year. And if I do, then I will definitely do a video there. All right. Um, yeah. And I would post that on my other channel, Eric Super Magnificent. And one of my real old videos on Eric Super Magnificent, I actually uploaded a few horse racing videos, and it was at that track. Okay, so yeah, if I'll let you know if I really do go back, I will let you know. All right. So, all right. How about we go through once again the NBA and NHL playoffs? Oh, wait, before I do that, I forgot this just popped in my head, thankfully. The other night, the NFL released their schedule for the 2025 season. However, somehow part of their schedule was leaked. Like the night before the actual schedule release, some of it was leaked. They already leaked the very first game of the regular season. Okay? So usually the Super Bowl champions, they would always get that first game of the season at home. It's usually like that. So that means the Philadelphia Eagles will be hosting that game against their rival, the Dallas Cowboys. Wow. That'll be something. Yeah. And then they also kind of leaked I think they also leaked the Thanksgiving or the Christmas games. So, but last night they revealed the whole schedule, and I was actually watching some of the NFL Network's coverage, the beginning. I didn't see all of it though, but I saw the beginning of it. And the great Rich Eisen, who doesn't like him? Everyone likes him. And I saw he was talking to they had the great Al Michaels on their program. Al Michaels, he's not retired. He's gonna do another season of prime time games, Thursday night football, and I think I saw that it says this will be his 40th season calling primetime games. Back in the old days, he was on ABC, and I believe it was Sunday Night Football on ABC. Okay. Um, yeah, he was on there for decades, and then went to um, NBC for Sunday Night Football, which is still huge to this day. He did that for many years as well. and recent years Amazon Prime for Thursday Night Football. So, and he sounded great. He's 80 years old, and he still sounded great. I think he's the greatest NFL announcer of all time. And I think he's called the most NFL games as well, and Super Bowls. So yeah. And I heard that there's gonna be a Friday night game, week 1. So obviously the night after the Cowboys Eagles game. They're going to be it's an international game. Yeah, recent years NFL's doing more international games, and some people don't like that. Some people don't like international games, or they just don't like that they're doing more international games. It doesn't bother me because I'm not a huge NFL fan. But there was a Friday night game in Sao Paulo. Where is that at? Is that the one in South America from last year? Because they had a Friday night game last year after the first game of the regular season. I believe it was the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers. And I think that was in South America. I don't know if this one is also in South America, but this one is the Super Bowl runner-ups, Kansas City Chiefs against their rival, the LA Chargers. But here's the biggest part about this game is that it's on YouTube. What? We have a game on YouTube? A regular season game on YouTube? How about that? Wow. Last year, their Friday night game was on Peacock. This is on YouTube. It's not YouTube TV, just YouTube. Regular YouTube. I think this is the first time they've ever done a YouTube game. I remember years ago the MLB's YouTube channel did something like this. They would do something called the Game of the Week live on YouTube. That was pretty cool. Unfortunately, they don't do that anymore. I don't know what made them stop doing that, but maybe it's because Apple TV Plus took over or something. Yeah, because back when they did that, back when MLB broadcasted games on YouTube, the Apple TV Plus deal didn't exist. You know what I mean? So that could be the reason. But we have an NFL game on YouTube. How about that? So, but yeah, that's all I want to talk about for the NFL schedule. I don't want to break down the entire schedule. That would be crazy. Season doesn't start for another 3.5 months, you know. Although we are about 3.5 months after the Super Bowl already. That's crazy. Back then I had short hair. Yeah, you can see my hair is growing out again, which means gotta get a haircut soon. So, yeah. All right, now let's get into the NBA and NHL playoffs. Playoffs? I know we got some more here. All I know is that the second round for both leagues are coming to an end. It's so weird how they're on at the exact same time of the year. They do that on purpose, which makes it not easy to follow both of them. I mean, you can follow both of them for the finals, NBA Finals, Stanley Cup Final, because they don't have their games on at the exact same time. So, but like the first 2 rounds, it's more difficult, you know. The games are either on ABC, ESPN, or TNT. So, I guess that kind of makes sense, right? NHL games used to be on the NBC networks. You know, there used to be NBC Sports Network. Basically, that channel got shut down because of Peacock's popularity. Yeah. Same with the Olympic Channel. There used to be an Olympic Channel, which is part of NBC Sports. Peacock is part of NBC Sports. Yeah, because the NBC logo is a peacock. If you look closely. All right. All right, to the NBA now. We'll do that first. Monday night, East semifinals game 4. The New York Knicks the Boston Celtics took on the New York Knicks in New York. And the Knicks won by a score of 121 to 113. The Knicks took a 3-1 series lead, which is really big. And the West semifinals game 4, Minnesota Timberwolves against the Golden State Warriors. The Timberwolves won by a score of 117 to 110. They also take a 3-1 series lead. Yep. The biggest key factor is no Steph Curry. That's a huge impact. You know what I'm saying? All right, the Tuesday, the other East semifinals, game 5, the Indiana Pacers against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Pacers took care of business by a score of 114 to 105. Not only they beat Cleveland at Cleveland, but they won the series 4-1. I'm sure hardly anyone was expecting this to happen. Y'all remember I made my predictions, like my quick predictions on which teams would go to the finals? Cleveland Cavaliers was the team that I picked to go to the finals. They're eliminated. The team that destroyed the Miami Heat, even though the Miami Heat didn't belong in the playoffs, but still, wow. The Pacers. I remember years ago the Pacers were a bad team, so it's great that they're in the East Finals. And they'll be waiting for the winner between the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks. The other West semifinals, Game 5, the Denver Nuggets against the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder won by a score of 112 to 105. And the Thunder is the team that I picked to win the NBA Finals. So we'll see if they'll also get eliminated. That'd be kind of embarrassing. The two teams that I picked to go to the finals eliminated. One of them's already eliminated. All right. Wednesday, East semifinals game 5. Knicks Celtics in Boston. This time the Celtics won by a score of 127 to 102. The Knicks lead 3-2 games, which means game 6 will be going back to New York, Madison Square Garden. And I believe that game is either tonight, Friday night, or Sunday, or Saturday, excuse me. I think it's Friday. It's tonight, Friday night. All right. And then the other West semifinals, Warriors, Timberwolves. Timberwolves won by a score of 121 to 110, and they take the series 4-1. So the Timberwolves are in the West Final. And I believe I picked the Timberwolves to be in the final, the West Final, against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So they'll be waiting. The Timberwolves will be waiting against the winner of the Nuggets and Thunder. And then the other night, Game 6 between the Thunder and Nuggets. Nuggets won by a score of 119 to 107. The series is tied 3-3, which means we will have a Game 7. And it'll be in Oklahoma City. So tonight, Friday night, will be Game 6 between the Celtics and the Knicks in New York City, Madison Square Garden. If the Knicks win, they advance. If the Celtics win, we will have a Game 7 in Boston on Monday night. I hope the Knicks win. I do. I want to see the Knicks win the whole thing. I'm sure most people would like to see that. They haven't won it in forever. All right. So, excuse me. So, Game 7 between the Nuggets and the Thunder will be on Sunday afternoon, not Sunday night, Sunday afternoon on ABC. Okay? And then Monday night, Game 7, if necessary, between the Knicks and the Celtics. Now let's go to the NHL and do the same thing. So on Monday, the East Round 2, second round, Game 4 between the Washington Capitals and the Carolina Hurricanes. The Hurricanes won 5-2, and they took a 3-1 series lead. The West second round between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers won by a score of 3-0, and the Oilers also take a 3-1 series lead. On Tuesday, the Winnipeg Jets against the Dallas Stars. The Stars won 3-1, and they also take a 3-1 series lead. Oh boy. What if all those series force a Game 7? And then the team that's losing 3-1 makes a big comeback and they win that series. That would be crazy if that happens to all three of those. Okay, so that was on Tuesday, Jets Stars. Wednesday night, the Florida Panthers against the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Panthers took care of business. They won by a score of 6-1 in Toronto, and the Panthers now take a 3-2 series lead, which means Game 6 will go back all the way down to South Florida, where they won the Stanley Cup last year. That's a huge win. So the West second round, Game 5 between the Oilers and the Golden Knights. The Oilers won in overtime by a score of 1-0, and they take the series 4-1. I actually got a notification of that on ESPN. Yes, I'm using the ESPN app while I'm looking at these scores. Thursday, the Carolina Hurricanes against the Washington Capitals. Hurricanes won 3-1, and they also take the series 4-1. So, wow. How about that? We'll see which teams. Okay, so the Hurricanes, they'll be waiting the winner between the Panthers and the Maple Leafs, and the Oilers will be waiting the winner between the Stars and Jets. All right, Thursday night, Stars-Jets in Winnipeg, Game 5. Jets won by a score of 4-0, and the Stars take a 3-2 series lead. Tonight will be Game 6 between the Maple Leafs and the Panthers in South Florida. If the Panthers win, they win the series. So it's a must-win for the Maple Leafs. And if the Maple Leafs win, we will have a Game 7. They'll travel all the way back to Toronto. That is a long flight. Saturday night will be Game 6 between the Jets and the Stars in Dallas. If Dallas wins, they win the series, so it's a must-win for the Winnipeg Jets. If the Jets win, they'll force a Game 7 in Winnipeg. Sunday night, if necessary, for Game 7 between the Panthers and the Maple Leafs in Toronto. And then Monday night, Game 7 if necessary between the Stars and the Jets in Winnipeg. So yeah, round 2 is wrapping up for both the NBA and NHL. So I forgot which teams did I pick to go to the Stanley Cup final in the NHL. First of all, I did pick the Capitals to beat the Hurricanes, so I got that one wrong. I picked the Jets to beat the Stars. I'm not confident in that. I forget, did I pick the Maple Leafs or the Panthers? I don't remember because I didn't write this down. I forgot who I picked to win between the Maple Leafs and the Panthers. I think I picked the Maple Leafs, but I'm not confident in that one as well. So I did pick. I know for sure I picked the Oilers to beat the Golden Knights. So I think my final four in the West final, I think I have two teams in Canada. And I believe, yeah, Oilers and the Jets in the uh, West final. The East final, I have the Capitals against either the Panthers or the Maple Leafs. So, and I originally have the Capitals against. I think I picked the Jets. I don't remember, or it might have been the Oilers. But yeah, it is so hard. It's obviously so hard to pick these matchups, man. NBA and NHL playoffs. You just never know. Especially the Stanley Cup playoffs. You just never know, you know. So, all right. Some quick tennis news. Jannik Sinner came back and he looked better. I heard that he looked better than ever. The number one men's player from Italy, the player who got suspended for a while. He came back. We're in the clay court season. He looked great. He might win the French Open if he keeps playing like that. The French Open is coming up soon. I believe it usually starts on the Sunday before Memorial Day. And I believe for the first time this year, it's going to be on True TV and TNT. So I'm looking forward to that. I think Patrick McEnroe will be the host. And speaking of Patrick McEnroe, he has a podcast on SiriusXM called Holding Court every Saturday morning. He goes on the air on Mad Dog Sports Radio. I don't know why. His show is always on so early at 6 a.m. Central. And I'm not a morning person. Luckily, I don't have to listen to his show live. I can wait for it and listen to it in the afternoon as an archive. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Another tennis news. Thankfully, this just popped into my head. Novak Djokovic has ended his partnership with Andy Murray. Dang. That's a shame. After what, like 6 months, I think? Or maybe it wasn't even 6 months. But yeah, Novak and Andy, those two guys, they've known each other for a long time. They played against each other many times. Andy Murray just retired after last year's Olympics. Oh, and speaking of Andy Murray, it was just his birthday. Yeah, his birthday was the other day. And Novak's birthday is a week later. Yeah, Andy is only 1 week older than Novak. Yeah, their birthdays. My birthday is in between their birthdays. Isn't that funny? That's kind of weird. But yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen for Novak. I'm sure he'll be in the French Open, but I wish him well because Andy, he just turned 38 and he's retired. Novak is also about to turn 38 as well, and he's still playing, so we'll see how he does in the French. I just hope he doesn't get injured. So, but yeah, I'm sure Patrick McEnroe will talk about that as well. Okay, let me see. Any big news before I get to the my UFL predictions? No, not really. All right. So, to the UFL. Oh, some quick baseball news. This also just popped in my head. It's kind of funny how things popped in my head, and I'm gonna say it. This was like earlier in the week. Paul Skeens, the Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher, announced that he will be part of Team USA in the World Baseball Classic next year. That's gonna be great. Yeah. It's too bad the Pittsburgh Pirates are not that good of a team. But hey, you're not the worst team. Chicago White Sox are just as bad, but there's a team that's even worse. The Colorado Rockies. Ay, ay, ay. How many wins? Let me check this. How many wins do they have? I might as well check right now. You know, they just fired their manager, Bud Black. Let me check the. I'll do Pirates, White Sox, and Rockies. Pirates, they are 15 and 29. White Sox, they are 14 and 30. Wow, so just by one game, a one-game difference. Rockies, 7 and 36. Wow. Bro. If the Rockies, if this is how their season's gonna be for the rest of the regular season, they're gonna break the record. Last year, the Chicago White Sox broke the all-time number of losses in a regular season from the 1962 New York Mets. Now the Colorado Rockies, they might break the record again. The Chicago White Sox record. Oh my gosh. Hey, we got a long ways to go though, but if their season's gonna be like this for the next 4 months, 4.5 months, most likely they will break the record. Okay. All right, to the UFL. Week 8. So 3 regular season weeks to go. Tonight on Fox, the 2 worst teams. Wow. The Memphis Showboats at the San Antonio Brahmas in the Alamodome. They're both 1 and 6. Wow. The 2 worst teams. There must be a winner. There must be a loser because there are no ties in the UFL. I'm going to do my predictions as well as the over and under from ESPN Bet. All right, the over or under, 36.5. I'm going to take the under just because sometimes they don't score that many points, these 2 teams. I'll take the under. I won't be able to watch this game live. And I mentioned this in the last episode. I almost ranted. I never actually ranted on this channel, but I almost ranted where the UFL, they would upload highlight videos of their games, which is fantastic that they do that. But here's what's not good. Not good at all. Not showing the 1 point conversion, 2 point conversion, and the 3 point conversion attempt after a team scores a touchdown. Why? Why don't they show it? And I would look at the comments and they're saying the same thing. After that, man, this makes me don't want to watch their highlight videos anymore because they're not even listening to their fans. So, I have ESPN Plus, so I can easily rewatch the broadcast. I don't have the Fox Sports app. However, usually FS1 or FS2, Fox Sports 1 or Fox Sports 2, they would show a late night replay of their UFL games. So if I can remember, I will try to watch the late night replay. All right. Saturday at noon Central, also on Fox, between the Michigan Panthers and the Houston Roughnecks. Well, this one I think I should watch it live because the Houston Roughnecks are my favorite team. The game's in Houston. Houston came out of a devastating loss, and I think that loss is going to haunt them. And I think the Michigan Panthers are a much better team. I'm going to take the Panthers to win. 42.5. Ooh, that's a good question. I'll take the over this time. And then later... Wait a minute. What the heck? Okay, let me tell you the game. This game is also on Fox at noon as well. What? Why are both games on at noon on Fox? Is that a glitch? I've never seen anything like that in the UFL. I mean, that's normal in NFL because there's a whole bunch of games at noon Central, but why are there two games on Saturday at noon Central, both on Fox? The other game is the Birmingham Stallions against the St. Louis Battlehawks. That is a huge game. They're both 5-2. Let me show you. For those of you that are watching the video, I'm going to show you my phone. I'm going to show you my phone screen. My phone screen is cracked, so please excuse that. But if you look closely, hold on, Scott, sorry for shaking. Look at that. It says Saturday, May 17, 2 games at noon on Fox. Is that supposed to be an error or a glitch? What if this is true? That's stupid. Clearly, this has never happened before in the UFL. Both games scheduled on the same network at the exact same time. That makes zero sense. Okay, so I know that this Saturday, every Saturday night, Fox would have an MLB game at 6:15 Central. Okay, they can clearly have a UFL game at 3 o'clock. I don't know. Maybe it is scheduled. Maybe ESPN just forgot to update or change their I don't know. It's so bizarre. I'll have to check on my guide. I have Fire Stick. I have an app on my Fire Stick. I'll have to check the guide and see if this is really true. I don't think it is though, but if this is really true, that's a shame. I don't think it is though. I think there's a game, one of those games will be on noon, and then the other game will be at 3 p.m., and then after that game will be the MLB game. A triple header on Fox. You have 3 Fox games. That's interesting. I think it was last week. 3 games are on ESPN networks. I wonder who are the announcers. I know Kurt Menefee is one of the main Fox announcers, but I don't know about the two other ones. So normally you would have a doubleheader on Sunday. Lately it's been like that, but this week it's just one game on Sunday, and it's an early game at 11 a.m. Okay, okay. Let me go back to the other Saturday game. Birmingham Stallions against the St. Louis Battlehawks. Both teams are 5-2. That's the game of the week. Clearly the game of the week. I will be cheering for St. Louis for a few reasons. Number one, they are in St. Louis. They have the best fans. And St. Louis is also hosting the championship game. And Birmingham Stallions made a huge comeback against the Houston Roughnecks last week. Oh, I think this is going to be a very, very close game, but I think St. Louis is going to win. 39.5. I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take the under on this one. But I think this will be a close game. Game of the week. Maybe the game of the year. Who knows? That could be a championship preview right there. And then Sunday, Arlington Renegades at the DC Defenders. Arlington's 3-4. DC's 5-2. Wow. The over or under 42.5. I'm gonna take. I'll take over, I guess. But I think DC's gonna win this pretty easily. They are a great team. So I got San Antonio Brahmas winning, Michigan Panthers winning, St. Louis Battlehawks winning, and the DC Defenders winning. Most likely, the current standings, the top two advance to their conference championship or the semifinals. USFL and the XFL conference. The top two teams in the USFL conference are Birmingham and Michigan. They're both 5-2. The top two XFL teams in that conference are DC and St. Louis. They're both 5-2. I think those are going to be the final four teams in a couple of weeks. Houston's 3-4 in the USFL conference. Arlington's 3-4 in the XFL conference. And Memphis and San Antonio are both 1-6. Yeah, look. Yeah, look at my phone if you're watching the video. Yeah, the standings are the exact same for both leagues. Isn't that interesting? Okay, for some reason the webcam won't focus this time, but yeah. Memphis and San Antonio, they're already eliminated. They have no chance whatsoever. Basically, Houston and Arlington, they have to win all the rest of their games and hope their other teams lose, but that is just too much to ask for. Most likely, the semifinals is going to be Birmingham against Michigan in the USFL conference and DC and St. Louis in the XFL conference. If those are the semifinals, that's great. Which means I think we will have a great championship game this year. As long as St. Louis is in it, then that's going to be great. Then I think there will be much more ratings than last year's. I also don't want to see Birmingham in the championship. So I guess I would like to see a rematch between the Michigan Panthers and the St. Louis Battlehawks. I watched that game live. That game was in St. Louis. It was a great game. High scoring as well. So, yeah. Alright, guys. That is it. So, enjoy the Preakness Stakes, the rest of the NBA, NHL Round 2 coverage, UFL. Got a lot going on. Another big weekend in sports. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys on Monday. Bye. Thank you for listening to Keith's Sports News.